Hi everyone and welcome back to WSO2 Bytes. This video is about changing the default authorization header in WSO2 API Manager. If the value of authorization header needs to be changed due to organizational policies, legacy APIs, or for any other reason, it can be done in API Manager and we'll see the different options in this video. So let's start. We'll start looking into token-based access in WSO2 API Manager, followed by understanding the typical flow. Next, we'll see some of the scenarios where the changing default authorization header is required. Then we'll dive into different ways we can change the authorization header, and we'll wrap up with a video with the sample demo. So token-based API access in API Manager. So the API is published in WSO2 API Gateway can be secured by OAuth 2.0, which is the de facto standard for access delegation in REST APIs world. APIs on WSO2 API Gateway uses OAuth 2.0 for security. To invoke an OAuth 2 secured API, a client must subscribe to it and send a valid OAuth 2.0 access token with each request. HTTP authorization header is the most common method for providing authentication information for REST APIs. The access token followed by bearer needs to be sent via the authorization header for the client application to authenticate the API that is being accessed. Here you can see a sample default format with the sample values. So the string which you can see over here, it's the sample value for access token that is being sent from the client application. Mostly it is a JWT or OPEC token in some of the scenarios. Let's understand the flow of sending an authorization header. So there is a client application who sends a payload or the particular request you along with the authorization header with the bearer token. So when the request receives that API gateway, either the gateway validates the token itself, or in some scenarios it tries or it basically gets the token validated via the key manager. Post successful authentication, the request is being sent to the backend service. So why to change the authorization header? So there are several reasons, or I would say the requirements that raises the feature in modern API management systems, and here WSO2 API Manager native support for it. Each scenario represents a real-world constraints that make the flexibility to customize authorization header a crucial feature in an enterprise API management. Below are some of the reasons for changing the default authorization header. Protocol conflicts, that is, sometimes the backend system uses the authorization header for basic authentication to other system. So this might create a collision. Security through obscurity, using a custom header instead of sending a standard header to reduce automated scanning and token theft attempts. PCI DSS compliance, some payment systems require specific header formats for token transmission. Corporate security policies, some organizations maintain mandates basically a specific header naming convention across all the internal APIs. Development and testing scenarios. There can be a scenario when development and testing or the production related the environments uses specific headers like x hyphen staging hyphen auth or x hyphen test hyphen token, etc., for automated testing pipelines. Business and organizational scenarios. There are some business scenarios, that is merging systems from acquired companies with different authentication standards, and we need to standardize it. Migration and versioning scenarios. Changing the default authorization header is essential for legacy system integration, multi-gateway environments, security policies, protocol-specific needs, and managing gradual authentications, migrations, or API versionings without causing the breaking changes for existing clients. It provides a crucial flexibility for enterprise architectures. So what all different options are there to change the authorization header? So WSO2 API Gateway facilitates currently there are three ways to make the changes in the authorization header. So first we have at global level, that is all tenants level. Second is at per tenant basis, and third one is at per API level. So these are the three ways which we can do so. So for making the changes at tenant or all tenants level, so this can be done via the deployment.toml file which is available in WSO2 API Manager. we must change a couple of configurations in deployment.toml file, which can be located at repository conf directory. So here are the two configurations. So first one is apim.oauth where we have to supply the auth underscore header name, and apim.course configuration where we have to mention the particular authorization header value over here as well. And any changes to deployment.toml requires a server restart. So go ahead with this. So changing the per tenant basis, there is a separate way of doing the thing. So first, tenant admin must log into the admin console, which is typically the host name followed by the port number and slash admin context. So the tenant admin navigates to the advanced configurations, and then it navigates to a section at the bottom, preferably at the bottom, and it provides the authorization header text with the value. Here I have provided a sample value for reference purpose, and after making the changes, this configuration must be saved. And if there are already deployed APIs in that particular tenant, so they must redeploy all the existing published APIs. Changing API at per tenant basis is done via the publisher portal, where a permitted user navigates to the runtime configuration and then changes the authorization header value to a required one and save and deploy a new revision. So here you can see the default authorization header value is this. So let's say we make the changes it to xauth. So after making the changes, we have to save and deploy this configuration. So now we have seen that there are different ways to make the changes in the authorization header. So we'll be doing a demo where we'll be showcasing per API basis authorization header changes. So we'll test out existing PizzaShack API with authorization header. Then via the publisher portal, we'll be making the changes and we'll write a custom authorization header name. We'll save and deploy with a new revision and test it out. So let's begin the demo. The demo as per the pointers as showcased. So let's log into the developer portal and test the existing PizzaShack API with authorization header. So we have logged into the developer portal. Go to PizzaShack API, try it out API console. As you can see, we have this application subscribed with the, if we go to take the access token, it is coming into the default authorization header. Okay, so we have taken the test key, try it out and execute. So as you can see in the curl request, we have this authorization header value is authorization. Okay, so it's working now. Now let's plan to change to runtime configuration. Under the authorization header value, we'll make changes to this as x auth, save and deploy to a new revision, and deploy this. So now we have revision 11. Now go to the developer portal again and just refresh the page. Go to PizzaShack API, try it out API console. Now you can see we have this authorization header has been changed to xauth. Get the test key, get manage resource, try it out and execute. Cool. So we have got the response, but with a different authorization header name. It's xauth. Okay. So this completes the demo, and yeah. So now we have successfully completed the demo. So thank you very much for your time, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for my upcoming videos on WSO2 Bytes.